Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and my friends, we have another installment of the developers' backyard for ggstrive, where the developers reach out to us, the public, in the fighting game community to talk about whatever the topic is. This time around, they're not answering questions directly from the fans, but they're specifically talking about the open beta, how it went, how their expectations were for it as well, what's going to be happening in the future, and yes, there will be a second open beta. So to start off with, we got a little bit of a character popularity chart here from the beta. So it's both which character did you use the most and which character did you like the most, and separated by regions here: Japan, Asia, North America, South America, Europe, and Oceania. So to start here with, which character did you use the most? And pretty overwhelmingly, it's kind of the characters you thought it would be. So Ramlethal, Sol, and Giovanna. So Ramlethal is honestly the most surprising to me, even though it's not that surprising, because I thought Sol and Giovanna would be number 1 or number 2, like respectively. They'd be fighting over the spots. But she seems to be kind of the overwhelming favorite in this regard. I do appreciate the symmetry of Nagoriyuki being exactly 5th in every single region, which is weird, I guess, but hey, that's how the stats kind of work out. But in the end, perhaps not too surprising. Sol and Kai, they're the main characters, as it were. Ramlethal is super popular, and we have Nagoriyuki and Giovanna, the 2 new characters. Now, here's some of the fun stuff here. Which character do you like the most in Guilty Gear Strive? And Japan, Asia, North America, South America, Europe, Oceania, the planet all says number 1 with a bullet, Ramlethal. So yeah, interesting stuff, I guess. I find it very interesting that is unanimous across the board. Now, when we get to some of the other numbers here, Sol, popular in Japan and Asia, Giovanna everywhere else, and then 3rd through 5th, we start getting different results. And I want to say Oceania, big ups for putting Potemkin on the list. They had this state here that we asked for characters everyone played most and their favorites separately, but the answers were more or less similar for both. Ramlethal is extremely popular in every region, it seems. It's pretty unusual for the Guilty Gear series to have a new character placed highly in popularity rankings, but Giovanna is quite popular outside of Asia. The results were interesting, especially the differences between regions. I myself personally, I'm not too shocked Giovanna is really popular. She has an ultra cool, ultra stylish look, and she's really easy to play, so that's basically a perfect storm. Don't really need to do too much more than that. The developers also show us plenty more stats of what they got from the survey. This particular is how people felt about the following modes of the game. Generally pretty positive, except for the online lobby. Now let's cut right to the lobby stuff, because I know that's what a lot of people are really looking forward to see what's going to happen here. And they state, besides some issues, effectively we let everyone down. And the plan changes as they stand here are changing to a system where players can select a visible area where they want to have a match. After winning a match, the player stays where they are in a battle-ready state, thank God, adding rematches, thank God, and expanding the area in each lobby and adding an option to hide the news display and adding dash movement for avatars. So the aesthetic of the lobby is staying the same way. And you know what? I got exactly no problem with that. The pixel art thing, maybe it would have been my first choice, but I had no problem with how it looked. My problem, on top of the lack of rematches, was the clutter. Like, myself doing a stream and get a lot of people try to play a game with me, and then everyone's just roaming around in the same area, and it's hard to find who specifically you're trying to match up with. And then, of course, after every match is done, you just teleport to a random part of the stage, and it was just confusing and bad in that way. So now, with these changes as they describe, that should be a lot easier to work with, and thank God for it. If you didn't like the aesthetic, I'm sorry, I guess that doesn't look like it's going to change. For me, I cared a lot more about the functionality, and now the functionality looks like it's going to be a lot better, and the aesthetic, whatever. And some of the better concepts, like the whole floor stuff, looks like it's staying exactly the same way. So in that regard, I'm pretty happy, because I think the floor stuff, ranking up by floor, going from 1 to 10 to heaven, all that kind of stuff, I think that's pretty neat, and that's staying the same way. Other statements here about the tutorial mode, basically saying it's kind of 50-50. Some praised it for the unique freedom it gives the player, as opposed to a traditional textbook style explanation. I don't think anyone actually used that phrasing, but whatever. But yeah, it was kind of bare bones, right? But their intent here seemingly is they want it to be, the initial part, pretty bare bones, because they want to not scare people off. They just want them to learn the absolute basics and kind of send them on their way. And in that regard, they consider this a success. Not to say they're not going to teach you the game here, because they state here, the mission mode will include missions for practicing game mechanics, wall breaks, roam cancels, combos, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to learn the meat of the game, that's where it'll be, in mission mode. And the tutorial is just basically a get your foot in the door kind of deal. I would personally hope for the main tutorial to be a bit more expansive, but I guess that's their decision. Also posted was the general survey results for people's just thoughts on the online play, and not a shocker, it's pretty much overwhelmingly positive, as the online play is amazing and basically setting the brand new standard in fighting games, the genre as a whole. Also, to show just what general wizardry was at play here with the online for Strive, they said the fixed input delay was set at 1 frame. For rollback, setting it at 1 frame is a high level of confidence, to put it that way, right? And they completely pulled it off, so hey, kudos to Arcsys. They may allow players to set their variable delay at launch, we'll see, I suppose, but they pulled it off. Man, it's just so good. The online is so good. And our final set of statistics here they posted from the surveys after the beta ended are these here. Just various aspects of the game, from visuals, animations, to combat, sound effects, all that kind of stuff, right? I would love to see the guys who rated the character visuals and animations as very bad, because, you know, that's a nice little edgelord tactic, huh? But otherwise, you know, the experience has been positive, right? Outside of lobbies, that's the only thing people didn't really like. Everything else has basically been a home run. Some notes they put to this here is first regarding the visual effects here. We received many comments stating the game looks good, but there are issues with visibility. In particular, many players encountered issues with characters blending into the background and being difficult to see, as well as losing track of the character's position due to camera effects. Myself, playing a lot of Potemkin in the beta, I do find the winter stage, which is his base stage, a little distracting at times. Not so much that I lose like where the character is, but I do agree with that to a degree. With Guilty Gear Strive, we're trying our hand at using effects and visuals that are thought of as taboo when developing fighting games. The current state of the game is the baseline for our general direction. We're still working on refining and improving it, and as far as characters' visibility, we're looking to adding a setting so that each player can adjust it for their needs. Moving on here, quick blurb about the music. For the music, we received many requests from players who wanted to select songs from older games. And in the game, basically, you will unlock them with in-game currency. That's fantastic. So I can use like Still in the Dark, and that'll be great. One of the more common things brought up was the high damage of the game, and they addressed this directly, and I'll just read it verbatim. Many players commented that the damage was way too high. There were also many concerned that this is not just a problem with the game's balance, but also takes away from the fun of pulling off damaging combos. After hearing your feedback, we plan to adjust the damage so it'll be more suitable for how often and how difficult it is to land each attack. In general, however, the damage will remain high, as that's part of the game's design. Now, to put this out there, I am a fan of the high damage. I know some people are critical of it, but me, I like it. When you have high damage, there is no need for things like comeback mechanics. Now, them adjusting difficulty of like certain moves that are harder to hit, being more damaging, and things that are easier to hit, I guess are less damaging, that's fine, right? Something that is much harder to hit, like say a Potemkin Buster, should be a big signature event, and certain things that you just get non-stop, maybe you shouldn't get the big old damage combo from that, that's plenty okay. Maybe the game should move to like best 3 out of 5 instead of 2 out of 3, but me personally, I am more than happy with the game remaining a high damage game. They do go on to add here that Strive is, simply put, a less combo heavy game than previous games in the series, right? That is why the overall damage is higher, including for single hits. There are indeed things that are going to be tweaked into this beta and into the launch window as well here, but overall they say they're happy with where they are at here. They think they are successful with what they have gone for. Specifically adding here as well, we are adjusting the game so simple combos and situational combos each have their own merits, not just limited to damage, but also in terms of meter efficiency and the situation you're in after the combo. But basically, long story short, yeah, they have a vision, but they're always willing to change up just a little bit. Another thing to tackle here is Roman cancels are basically the most complex they've ever been. That's awesome. But they said a lot of people mentioned they felt restricted because they wouldn't have as many times a Roman cancel as they might like. So taking that into consideration, they've reconsidered the rules just around meter gain. It's not just that you gain more meter in general, but you should be able to use your meter more freely. I guess that's kind of a wait and see kind of deal. But meter makes you do all the cool fun stuff in this game, so more meter, hey, it's hard to argue, I guess. On the topic of jumping, a lot of people said jumping's too strong, and to that I say, play Potemkin. He stops jumps pretty good, actually. But for everyone else, yeah, maybe there's some issues. So they said this is an area that needs improvement, and they've made significant changes. So each individual change won't be explained, but basically wait and see, you'll notice it. And on infinites and loops. So anyone with an infinite, that'll be gone, easy enough here. But for a lot of overly simple loops and that kind of stuff here, they're going to be changing around so it's not always the most viable option. So some of the mechanics, some of the properties will change up a bit. Not to say get rid of loops, but make it so it's not the only correct option to go for. And finally, yes, there is now official confirmation there will be a second open beta test. And of course, if you subscribe to the channel, you already knew that. We broke that news a few days ago, but we don't have an exact time just yet. When will it be? Who knows? I would say maybe end of April, early May, but we'll have to wait and find out for that one. Right now, today, as of the time of this posting, we're at a bit of an odd anniversary. Today, April the 6th, is the day Guilty Gear Strive would have originally came out if you pre-ordered and got early access. So I kind of feel it right now, you know, it should have been out. Now, we all know the delay's for the best and for a very good reason. But yeah, basically hurry up with that beta because I want to play the game again. And that is all the big news from this developer's backyard. So once again, Arc System Works, they are listening, right? Now, maybe some of the design philosophy behind the game, maybe you won't care for where it's going. I know some people won't be fans of high damage is here to stay, but you know what? I am a fan. I cancel you out. That's how that works. So we're good there. But yeah, they're listening. They're improving the game. The game was delayed for a good reason because they're taking a lot of the feedback you are giving them and they are working with it. So yeah, we gotta wait 2 more months past the original release date, which would have been today, but still, it's for the best reasons. So if you want to see the whole developer's backyard in full, check the video description. There will be a link there. And they are also asking for more feedback, so please post it if you got it, because guess what? They are listening. I just want to hammer that home. And other than that, my friends, that is the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Guilty Gear.